Dear friends, welcome. My name is Alexey Ognev. I'm the CEO of the DigiU ecosystem. Today we have another webinar, our second, since the share sales ended. We will discuss the questions that have been actively asked in the chats during the first 10 days of July. These are questions that concern all DigiU ecosystem co-owners and product users. We will cover topics such as share recalculations, credits, reorganizations, and burnings, procedures we announced in May. We will also talk about the possibility of restoring installments, upgrading packages, and so on. We will explain why this is necessary and what goals the company aims to achieve. Naturally, we will touch on the KYC process. These procedural points are important so that you, as viewers and co-owners of the DigiU ecosystem, can understand my position on these topics and gradually meet all the necessary requirements, which, as always, are simple, clear, and convenient. We will also talk about news from our commercial projects, focusing on the RWA Bank and RWA Marketplace ecosystems. As you may have noticed, during the last 2 weeks of June, everyone, including us and you, was focused on completing the share sales. As we mentioned in the last webinar, we succeeded very effectively. Nearly 12,000 new participants registered with us in 1 month. A huge result. These 12,000 people have many questions, directed to support, curators, and me personally, indicating continued, strong interest in the project. Most importantly, people keep registering. This success is due to the user-friendly interface for daily tasks, achievements, and rewards. We will discuss this today. Also, we are going to talk about the RWA Bank and Marketplace, where the teams have continued working hard, and many exciting things are coming. If you have been following these projects, especially their commercial aspects, Apato, deposits, wallets, and cards, you will see many significant updates. Despite finishing share sales, the teams were working on other tasks. We'll discuss our future plans as well. July and August are times for the DigiU team and ecosystem to prepare for the next season. Summer is usually a slow period in the markets and people's minds, with processes slowing down. You probably notice this in all areas of activity. For us, summer is traditionally a time for rethinking and setting goals for the end of the year. We will continue to meet with you in webinars, sharing updates and maintaining our transparent stance toward all DigiU ecosystem participants, ensuring that our ideas are clear and precise for the entire audience. We continue to emphasize that every action in the ecosystem, every contribution, should be rewarded, a principle that drives our mission. Every action in the ecosystem, every contribution, and every benefit, regardless of its nature, must be rewarded. This principle helps us fulfill the DigiU ecosystem's mission. It ensures that anyone, anywhere in the world, regardless of their education, income level, or knowledge of modern technologies, become the primary beneficiary and reaps the rewards from modern technologies like AI, blockchain, and related fields. This is our plan for today's webinar. Let's start with project news. In July and August, You will hear more and more about the successes and new developments in the Apato project and everything related to the bank. These projects complement each other, as they were created with shared goals. If you follow these projects' roadmaps, you will see they intersect at various points in products, technological solutions, and even in the emergence of tokenized real estate assets. This can be used as collateral for banking products, crypto mortgages, loans, and other financial products, leveraging RWA assets. Currently represented by tokenized real estate and other assets, this pool will naturally expand over time. You can see other global projects working on this. Eventually, this will likely lead to a unified standard, making these assets increasingly legally significant and legal, enabling their use in creating banking products and earning opportunities. This idea guided us when we introduced the RWA project's concept at the end of last year and conducted its first funding round. We did this in our unique way, funding large, early-stage projects by offering gifts and snapshots to those purchasing DigiU ecosystem shares and paying installments. We minimized risks for early investors by offering maximum fairness. Only in late April did we have a round where you could consciously select and buy a project share package, by which time commercial solutions like deposits, wallets, and cards had been launched. These products had evolved from ideas into clear technological solutions, with users gradually validating their business models. At this stage, we offered everyone the chance to become direct co-owners, not just to receive a gift for some targeted action within the ecosystem, but to actually purchase the package of interest. And as always, we proudly mentioned that everything was bought out before this period ended. This demonstrates the high demand and shows that the audience within the DigiU ecosystem understands the value of the products, the necessity and appropriateness of making such purchases. And they do so quickly and knowingly. What has happened since then, for example, with Apato? And what should we pay attention to? Naturally, we've already discussed this. We carried out the commercial launch of this project. The first transactions were executed in a test mode, and we held a presentation in Bali for market participants. Additionally, during this event, we hosted an investment forum and spoke to an audience that had traveled from various countries. This was indeed a significant event, especially for developers, realtors, and all participants in the Bali real estate market. This event was multilingual, with Russian, Vietnamese, Indonesian, English, and French speakers. We declared our serious intentions and opened sales of a ready-made real estate object. Investing in completed properties yields rental income. Although price growth may be slower than some prefer. From June 4, all Vesna townhouse token holders have been earning rental income at about 11–12% annually. Those who transferred their tokens to Apato and completed KYC see this income in their Apato personal account. There, you have the option to manage your tokens, including listing them on the secondary market. We will discuss this in more detail later. For those who still hold their tokens or haven't transferred them from the DigiU account to the Apato account, around 1,500 snapshot participants, possibly more. Whether you have a few tokens or several dozen, this is your management strategy. We will credit the income to your DigiU personal account within this month. We are not insisting on transferring these assets. You will continue to receive regular income in the DigiU personal account at the same frequency it is accrued, if for any reason you prefer not to use the Apato account. This way, you can manage your tokens in the familiar and convenient interface of your DigiU personal account. You will see weekly or monthly rental income dividends. This will help you understand how the tokenized real estate system works, why it's beneficial, why it's a long-term investment, and why it's reliable. We always look several years ahead, testing initial hypotheses and ensuring that anyone can understand and benefit from seemingly complex technical products. This helps understand the benefits and see, through a calculator, if investing $1,000 weekly in tokenized real estate is worthwhile. How quickly can you exit and profit from such an investment? Maybe it's better to buy an entire property. Such opportunities will soon be available, potentially as a separate product, for purchasing entire tokenized properties. Future properties might cost around $100,000 down, from $250,000, with different characteristics. By the way, it might be a good time to discuss Apato's plans. But first, let's touch on the secondary market, which has been an excellent opportunity for all those who receive tokens through snapshots. It also serves, generally speaking, as further confirmation of the right path chosen by the Apato project itself. If you visit the Binaryx website, our technology partner, or access it through the Apato personal account, you will see that about 4 to 6 real estate properties, I believe, are listed on the secondary market and have already been sold. Token holders can list their tokens there, yet few do. This indicates long-term investment understanding. Notably, in June, about 50 tokens were listed and bought within 3 hours, despite lacking a notification system for secondary market offers. Tokens were listed by a DigiU ecosystem member and quickly purchased by several people, showing strong demand. In Bali, we announced another feature: investing in under-construction properties with reliable developers. This investment model is common in the real estate market. For instance, buying a property for 3 million rubles during construction can see its value double post-completion due to demand. This further validates our chosen path from the perspective of the final holders of these tokens and products. Thus, we'll continue to develop this direction. Notably, when we presented the project in Bali, as I mentioned, we started with ready-to-use properties, generating rental income. At the same time, we announced the next feature: investments in under-construction real estate, allowing for legal investment in tokenized properties at the construction stage. In the real world, this is a straightforward scenario, at least in our country, and indeed globally. We regularly monitor real estate markets. If we see a trusted developer building a house in an attractive area or offering something appealing at the start of the sales, we can always choose to buy, for instance, an apartment for 3 million rubles, which will likely appreciate to at least 6 million rubles after construction, completed in about 1.5–2 years near a metro station. We understand that our capital will double in 2 years, assuredly because it's built in a sought-after area with definite demand from buyers and renters alike. This simple and generally understood case exists in the real estate market and is effectively utilized by buyers, realtors, and developers alike. However, it hadn't been implemented in tokenized form due to different legal frameworks. Binarix has now prepared this framework, which is currently being tested. And one of the properties at Binarix was quickly sold. What we see here is the next product for Apato, where under-construction properties will be offered. Soon, I believe by the end of July, we will introduce the next property that meets our criteria. As I said, it will be priced below $200,000 to expedite the sale. It will feature reliable developers, carefully selected locations, and certain construction phases. This is precisely the functionality that Apato covers, ensuring transaction transparency, legal integrity, and the use of all necessary modern technologies and selection criteria. This is why we established connections with many experienced market participants. They offer Apato only those properties that can be vouched for and guaranteed. And we also check everything numerous times, based on our reputation, before a property is included in the project. What does this mean? It means that the property will initially cost, say, roughly $70,000 to $100,000. I'm speaking in general terms to illustrate the concept. And we might buy it at that price and sell it for more. If you choose to exit after it's built, naturally it will be worth more. And that's the next form of earnings. Social media posts about Apato already discuss this, mentioning returns of 40% annually. So it's clear that we have achieved our goals. We are ready to launch the functionality of selling under-construction properties this month. This means expanding our product line in terms of products and profitability. If rental real estate yields up to 16% annually, then under construction property can yield up to 40% annually. Just this news alone is very exciting. And we have several more. So keep an eye on Apato products. Attend webinars. Follow our posts. Naturally, we will explain everything, as we always do. I will not make any exact statements or announcements right now. But there is a chance that, as always, we might introduce a snapshot to acquaint the audience directly with actions resulting from participation. We may conduct a snapshot of this real estate property among those who make installment payments in the DigiU ecosystem. That means we don't have opportunities for new package acquisitions after sales have ended. But for those making installment payments, why not incentivize them? Because that's an essential part of where our focus is directed, primarily mine and the team's overall. As I mentioned in the last webinar, we have over $3 million in installments that need to be paid. But statistically, only 50% or slightly more are being paid. We will monitor how this rate may increase. We'll discuss this separately. So in general about Apato, stay tuned for news. A snapshot is possible, and under construction properties are being added. In July, we are going to publish the exact date when this property will become available and under what conditions everyone can participate. Regarding Apato, I sincerely want to remind you of the people who participated in the first and second snapshots. The maximum allocations were counted in thousands of dollars. That is, a person might buy a share package or close an installment plan, receiving, say, 50 to 70 or more property tokens. And these are real funds that they can sell on the secondary market. And for us, these are also very cool cases that I always pay attention to and urge you to do the same. In the DigiU ecosystem, such opportunities are always created, allowing you to cover your long-term investments, long-term securities holdings of the DigiU ecosystem, with bonuses, snapshots, and more. Just by participating and observing the projects for a few months, you can already cover your costs. Essentially, you can be in a position where you are just receiving dividends, enjoying additional bonuses, and enjoying life. And dividends might very well be resumed next year, because overall, we are currently ahead of the roadmap and ensuring that products start to earn and earn and earn more. This is the goal we are pursuing, the goal that Alexander talks about. In general, a lot is happening. Regarding deposits, wallets and cards, we are implementing not just a new type of card, but expanding virtual cards as we've said. First, the range of currencies presented is expanding. Initially, it was the ruble. Now the euro will be added, and other national currencies will be added in the future. These cards will be interesting in other countries too. Soon in July, functionality will be implemented that allows these cards to be added to Apple Pay and Google Pay, making them usable as real cards, not just online, and so on. This represents significant progress. The wallet interface will also be updated to be more user-friendly, with more functionality added. So, keep an eye on the news. We are actively exploring Telegram applications and implementing ideas. For example, moving from a simple bot with text, a picture, and a button to more enjoyable, convenient, modern applications. As I said, the investor's portfolio will soon also move to Telegram, and those who find it convenient can monitor their portfolio in the user-friendly interface of Telegram, perform any transactions. Possibly, tone payment will be added. So, we are making it easier to use ecosystem products, receive benefits, withdraw rewards with minimal actions and minimal skills required. What else are we considering? The same product, deposits, a very interesting product in terms of profitability. And now, this is the product that allows earning DigiU shares even after sales have ended. Naturally, in a small amount. But part of the income that accrues in the deposits is paid in shares. So, we subsidize with shares and increase the interest rate, which is also very cool. And especially important, about 70% of those who open deposits do so for 36 months, the maximum term. This was initially a surprise for us, because a long-term deposit, 36 months, is understood, yes, it's the most profitable, but still, the audience is gradually moving to such terms. Typically, 1 month if you use wealth, 6 months if it's the deposits project. But more than 70% of open deposits are for 36 months. This high indicator of trust and essentially the correct investment strategy. So, I urge you again, pay attention to deposits. And speaking of the synergy between the bank and the marketplace, overall these ecosystems, we are considering opening a product that will exclusively earn on ready and under construction tokenized real estate. So, this will be a separate product that will earn solely on tokenized real estate, pre-purchasing interesting objects, tokenizing them, and managing these objects in some other way, generally earning. What is the essence? This will be deposits secured by real-world assets. And this is the first linkage we will implement. There likely won't be a large offering. That is, while our current deposits are not limited and can accommodate any amount, with several $100,000 currently placed. But in this so-called deposit linked only to tokenized real estate, there will likely be some limit. Perhaps the first test group that enters will receive, as always, an increased yield. There will be a cap, either on the number of participants or on the total funds raised. We may start with just $100,000 or $200,000. Initially, we will see how it all functions and gauge audience interest. We will also determine the duration and the types of real estate we can acquire and profit from with this liquidity. We already have a preliminary calculation, and the figures are certainly impressive. We are looking towards the development of this product. Let's move forward. A lot is happening in the venture fund, but Alexander will discuss this separately. I think we will hold a webinar with him in a couple of weeks. If you visit the updated website, I will request that a link to the venture fund will be added. Just take a deep dive into the portfolio. For those who understand, it's breathtaking. Yes, your projects are that impressive. So we'll wait for Alexander and the webinar with him. You can start formulating your questions you may have for him, which can be addressed during the webinar or in chat sessions. We'll prepare the webinar with him because there's really a lot to talk about. Let's move on to what we call procedures. These are the audience questions that have come up in early July. So I'll respond as I remember them. For instance, why is registration still an option? People ask why we haven't removed the ability to register. Firstly, because in today's world, the audience is a huge asset. When we saw a significant number of people eager to register, complete tasks, contribute to us, as clearly shown by our social metrics, subscription views, and more, and become co-owners, receiving a share as a gift, there was no reason for us to end it. This is because this audience is interested in our products and will be the users, promoters, and clients of these products. Our products currently include deposits, wealth, tokenized real estate, and all other products in our ecosystem. Therefore, we will only encourage more registrations. The interface with daily tasks will appear again, along with some additional rewards and new tasks, especially for those involved in promotion. And there will be a specific section for investors. The next set of questions. Why have we kept the option to increase packages? Why have we allowed the restoration and increase of cancelled installments? Do you not see this as an opportunity? Is it not equivalent to purchasing a package? Here is what needs to be said. We always look at the broader picture, at the metrics, the numbers. And as I've often said during the many webinars, selling installments is not ideally profitable for the company, because we reserve the number of shares you take in installments. And we don't guarantee that these contracts will be fulfilled. That's exactly what happens. About 50% of the shares, if you look over the 4.5 years of existence, about 56% are not paid. That's a significant figure. But here, we're somewhat insured by the fact that 60% of the installment package, plus all the bonuses you acquire in this package, are credited with the last payment. Thus, we impact the audience that the most valuable part is at the end. If you pay it off, you receive it. If not, you end up with less than you purchased. Understanding these numbers and striving for this percentage to grow, aiming for a 70–80% repayment rate of installments, we clearly understand that some of the contracts formed will inevitably go unpaid. We need at least a few months to understand this dynamic. So July, August and September will definitely just be us recording the trend and then making decisions. Do we need to maintain installment recoveries? Or are the current packages being paid off so well that the ecosystem doesn't need to hedge? Essentially, looking ahead, we see that some installments will not be paid off. Therefore, those who wish to restore or increase their package will have this opportunity, at least until the end of this year. But if we don't see some growth, which I believe we will, because the value of shares is always increasing, as is the understanding of what the ecosystem does, then there are no questions here. We simply see opportunities to hedge and realize that even those contracts that have been made, likely some part of them will not be paid. So, we give people the opportunity to increase, to restore, because life happens, we all understand. Maybe you didn't hear, didn't have time, couldn't afford it, missed the deadline, it was cancelled. No worries, you can go in, there is an interface where you can, by making a payment, restore it with bonuses or without. So, all of this is being done. And we clearly understand this functionality is not forever. As soon as we achieve our goals, we are going to remove it. So, while it's available, use it. What else? KYC. A huge number of people rushed to pass KYC since June 30th. And we are recording a large number of inquiries. There is no real urgency here. We will likely publish a preliminary shareholder registry in the next few days. Obviously, there will be no personal data, as I've mentioned, just ID and country. Everything necessary that you can see there related to snapshots and everything else. All of that will be there. And you will be able to see who has passed KYC, who hasn't, and pass it at your leisure. You have at least until the end of this year. We are not really changing anything drastically. Most likely, this interface will somehow be automated, accelerated, and so on. The key thing it has, which we ask you to pay attention to, is providing correct data. And this is in your interest. That is, if you incorrectly write your surname, if you provide not a passport but some scan of it, just consider without passing KYC, you will not be able to enter the shareholder registry. It's simple. You will not be able to then manage your securities as you wish. And here, common sense should prevail. Write your name correctly, provide the necessary documents, and take a photo with the DigiU sign and the correct date. Actually, take a photo. Don't draw something in Photoshop. Or there are photos with a blank piece of paper. Then through WhatsApp on the phone screen, they write the date and DigiU. That's not accepted. That's the main pool of errors. Pass KYC calmly, in a relaxed mode. Soon, the remaining countries will open. Naturally, we open those countries where we have the most investors first. Where there are none or few, we will open last. So, don't worry. Everyone will have a chance. There is no final deadline yet. But I urge you to resolve this issue by the end of this year, because when the final deadline for passing is announced, probably then some part of the audience will wake up. But it's better to do it in advance. Again, there are no difficulties there. Plus, we need this to identify any fake accounts. I saw questions in the chats. I have an underage child. I bought on their behalf, and so on. Will you take their shares away if they don't pass? Here, the company's position is simple. No one will take anything from anyone if it's a real person. All complex or such cases will be considered individually, obviously in the interest of the securities owners. And here, you really don't need to worry about anything. We've never had any issues with this. We've always acted individually, and every issue has been resolved over these 4 years. I personally keep an eye on any complex, unusual situations. So here, rest assured. Well, what else I would like to say? So, pass KYC. Take it seriously. Restore your installments. If you have the opportunity, increase it. If you've made that decision, the functionality will remain preserved until we see the right, sufficient dynamics to be sure that half of these installments will be paid in the form and amount that interest the ecosystem. Daily tasks will be updated soon. Keep doing them. They are very effective. Soon, we'll also make it possible to give a specific referral link for these tasks. And we will also reward you simply for this, for passing, for promoting this particular blog. Everyone's interested in the topic, by the way of recalculating. Publication of the shareholder list, I've already said, will be published soon. Recalculation, all these proportions of accrual, also await us in July. These dates are determined. We are currently fitting into them. And everything is in order here. Drop X, that's the activity that was announced and the end of June, when we saw that there was a large audience interest in completing the task, it became clear that the audience needed to be somehow rewarded. And at the end of July, DropX will be held if you participated in it. Additional tasks will soon appear, which until that time, you will be able to complete and increase your chances of getting a drop. What will it represent? It's a kind of mix of rewards and bonuses from those partners whose tasks you performed. That's clearly Ava, Apato, Launchpad, DigiU. And there will be plus individual content in terms of invitations to closed events, both offline and online. So, we are preparing something interesting that will definitely be beneficial for both the ecosystem and you. About installment, the position told, increasing the package, the engineering task, expect the shareholder registry. You will soon be able to see yourself there explicitly. DropX, July 25th. What else probably is worth discussing and the company's position on this issue? From me personally, here are the results for the community's work in July. As I mentioned, 11,902 individuals were registered, including 2,700 new investors. These include those who purchased a $10 package available during these assignments. However, this package doesn't allow participation in recalculations and more. We've received numerous questions from these individuals. They say, I registered, I studied, I didn't have time, and so on. What should I do? I want to become a shareholder. They contact us privately, the curators, and send a multitude of requests to support. Around 600 queries on this topic alone. These individuals who bought the $10 package, we want to increase their involvement in recalculations. This is precisely why service appeared in the chats. Did you manage to buy? Have you read about it? Do you know or not? We are now assessing public opinion and what I'm discussing. A vast amount of work was done with the audience. We attracted a significantly large audience unexpectedly. Understandably, this sounded like an offer. Hurry up, you will not get another chance. And indeed, there are no more chances. We've closed the sales of shares. But what about this audience? There is a demand to purchase, to increase the $10 package, or to buy it overall, because we've analyzed it, and it's cool and so on. How do we consider the interest of these people, given their large numbers? There are thousands, tens of thousands of people, and registrations continue. And leaders also ask, how can these people buy? They didn't manage in time. Maybe we'll do something special for them. And we respond, how can we? Sales have ended. But we see this demand. We see people's personal situations, who, it seems, only realized on the last day that it was indeed the last day. So we are deciding, probably within 10 days, the question has been active in all our meetings. How to consider the interest of people who managed to act in time? How to account for the interest of those who did everything correctly, who followed along, paid on time, participated in 3 snapshots, not just casually. Firstly, this question is no less important than the issue of the 12,000 people who just registered and haven't figured things out yet. Because the average decision-making time for us in June was 6 days. Generally, over 4.5 years, it was about 27, 28 days from registration to first purchase. And in 2024, in the first 6 months, it's been 15 days. And in June, 5 to 6 days. So it's always been decreasing, clearly, because there was intensive work. But still, it's not an hour, not a minute, not even a day. It's some number of days. So what we thought? How to ensure that no one is disappointed. But also we consider the interest of new people. And also, probably, that it doesn't look like we said June 30th was the last day and then we opened sales again. This is a complex issue from a positioning standpoint. However, we cannot deny people the opportunity to become co-owners, who just needed time to understand everything. Hence, we've devised a plan to open sales under completely different terms, which I will explain now. Starting on Monday, July 15th, we will allocate a very limited number of shares to ensure everyone interested can buy. We are talking about only 10 million shares, considering different pricing rates for people. The standard rate has been 8.5 cents, the last price at which we sold shares. These 10 million shares will be available from July 15th to July 31st, spanning 2 weeks. This sales round will be similar to those we conducted for other projects, like Ava, Binarix, RWA Bank, where there were time and quantity limits. 10 million shares is the maximum we can allocate, possibly even less. But it's a decisive shift from the open sales we had until June 30, where you could buy any amount with no restrictions. Now, there is a strict limit and a firm timeline. We expect that 2 weeks will be enough for all 12,000 people who have registered and continue to do so. This includes the 2,700 new investors. Some may want to increase their installments, and others who haven't bought installments might want to purchase another package. All these transactions will come from the 10 million shares over 15 days. After this, whether all the shares are sold or the time runs out, there will absolutely be no more chances for additional rounds or last-minute purchases. We are also considering those who participated in the snapshots on time. There will be a fourth snapshot for them. If you paid your installments on time, between July 1st and July 31st, additional recalculations and rewards will be applied. So, we are allocating 10 million shares, a modest amount that will suffice for everyone trying to get on board at the last minute. This is primarily aimed at newcomers. You must support us in this. There is no task here if you've already purchased and worked with your audience. There is no need to sell them anything again. Surely you know those who missed the chance to buy. Just inform them that there will be a small window of opportunity on the 15th. This is where we should focus. This is what we consider a fair stance from the company, to offer this chance to those who either took advantage of it or not. After this, there will definitely be no new openings. As I mentioned, we'll add activities like the fourth snapshot to accommodate the interests of those who pay their installments on time. There might be additional activities related to Apato. You need to stay tuned to the news. A decision may be made, or it may not. We are not talking about this as a reopening of sales, because it's not quite that. It's a sort of extra round, like overtime, where there are a few more minutes, a final chance for the vast number of people who have registered specifically for them. For those who've been with the ecosystem for a long time, you've already utilized all your bonus opportunities. You've done well, and we will reward you additionally for your timely payments. This is also about maintaining fairness. Therefore, for all the newcomers, for everyone who managed, wanted, but didn't manage, there will be an extra round from the 15th to the end of the month. No more chances after that. If you pay at the last minute, support will tell you, no. No, you didn't pay on time. Unfortunately, that's it. No further sales. Keep in mind that these 10 million shares will be sold as standard. If you are a new client, at the rate of 8.5 cents, the last rate that was available. But if you've been around for a while, and you have an old rate, or a rate from after you closed a previous package, that's significant. There are quite a few people like this. And this is where the sense of internal fairness comes in, which I mentioned, and the internal understanding that we are doing everything right. That these 10 million shares can be bought by someone with an early rate who wants to redeem them. So, this will likely go very quickly, and generally will not affect those who did everything on time. And as I've always said, we keep everyone's interests in mind. These 10 million shares will not touch anyone. They will be allocated for this activity from the reserve fund and will not affect the interest of those who did everything timely. At the webinar, as usual, it's challenging to convey detailed information. Details, dates, numbers, because I speak in Russian and I'm translated into 7-8 languages. I always speak in simple phrases. So now you are hearing the company's position from me. The company's stance. I speak it so that you understand the company's position, my position, and whether we consider the ecosystem's interest in opening this extra round. Certainly yes, because we need funding until the end of 2025. Are we considering the interest of those 12,000 and over 1,000 more people joining us in July? Of course we are. Could we ignore them? We could. But it wouldn't be beneficial for the company or anyone else, because the audience is a valuable asset. We are growing it. We are taking into account the interests of those who are already with us. This involves the fourth snapshot, the reserve fund, and everything related to them. I've discussed this issue with you at the highest level of openness. The details will be released just after the webinar, as usual. A post with all the conditions will be published within an hour. So, for those interested, the extra round will be on Monday. For those not interested, it doesn't concern you. But you will still receive bonuses, such as participation in the fourth snapshot and the opportunity for an Apato snapshot, which will also be available to you, as well as installment payments. This is what the company expects and requires from you, as compliance with this contract is in the investor's interests. Thank you for today's webinar. You've heard my position. I have sincerely and joyfully shared it with you. So thank you for joining. In the first part, we talked about what awaits us and what is happening in the projects. The main questions are why and for what purpose. The third and final part is informing about the extra round for those who are interested and how it will proceed. including any specific dates and details, all of which will be in the post. Thank you very much. Throughout the webinar, I'm always in the chats, answering questions. Tag me and ask your questions, preferably in the chats, so that everyone can see the response. Thank you for today's meeting. All the best.